Good morning everyone, welcome back to my channel. Okay, we're starting a new series and no, it's not Frozen, but this is the inspiration. Let me start at the beginning. A couple of weeks ago we went for a quick trip to visit family, and a young lady by the name of Edie, she was happened to jump in the back seat of the car as we all went somewhere for a bit of a picnic, and Edie left behind in my car this little book, which appears to be a little journal. I won't open it because she's had a few little writings in it and they're very private. But this little book was sitting in the back seat of the car. I didn't notice it till about a week later and realised it was here. And I thought, look at this. We've got a young lady, now Edie is 9, who is starting to show an interest in journaling and exploring the possibilities of what that could entail. Now, while I was there and we're having our barbecue lunch, she brought out to me another book that she had where she had been drawing in it, and she had drawn her ideal wedding dress, and it was really well done. She knew exactly what lace was going where, the shape of the skirt, really well, and she explained it just so beautifully. Now, if you remember back to the series where I restored the sewing basket, if you haven't watched that, I'll link it below. The sewing basket was a restoration while I was up visiting that area for something to do, and then I gifted it back to the lady that owned it. Excuse me. Now, the sewing basket lady is Edie's grandmother. So this is the granddaughter. And when I was doing that project, Edie was just enthralled with my bits of lace, needle and thread, and just everything. She was like just watching over my shoulder the whole time. So, leaning back to where we're at now, this series is going to be making a journal for Edie. Now, we're not going to use Frozen because I couldn't think of anything worse. So we'll put that away. So I went looking through all my scrapbook papers. Now, the last episode you watched was we made this little scrapbook ephemera folder using 6x6 papers, or mine were actually 6.5 by 6.5. And that took me to the cupboard where they are all stored. And I realized that I have so many scrapbook papers. I just haven't been in there for probably 18 months because we're getting into digitals and it just allows us to do whatever. So what I want to do is dig back into my scrapbook cupboard. And I was positive I had one that was a bit arty, and I found it, this one here. I love the colours. It just feels like Edie. So I want to create a journal for a 9-year-old that each page is an adventure to create something. What that something is, I don't know yet. I'm just going to keep it general. But I've sort of been just writing down a few little ideas of things that as she flips through the journal, we could get her doing something. So it's quite interactive. And as it fills up, it's sort of a nice little collection of bits and pieces that she's created. Now, Grandma is into hand sewing, so I want to bring a bit of that in there so that she can do a little project, add that into a journal. She loves drawing, she loves painting. I thought maybe we could get her a little pack of watercolours, just a tiny little pack, just something inexpensive, and have a space where she could do a little watercolour, and we provide a prompt for her. So yeah, that's the theory. Now, also in amongst all this, I really wanted to get into Rachel's digitals because that is also another pile that is out of hand. In this container are all of Rachel's digitals from when I was playing last time, and there's half completed journals in here. There's a little bit of everything. So October, the plan was just to dive into this container, and I could amuse myself for at least a month in here. Then Rachel went and released another kit, as you may know, and you know what happened. I purchased the kit, and it's just gorgeous. Look at the tags alone. So if you haven't got Rachel's kit, what can I say? Actually, I think this is an older one. I may or may not allegedly have gone back into the archives and printed an older kit as well. I think I did. So just ignore these first 30 pages. They don't exist. I believe might be the start of the new kit. I don't know. It's like a rabbit hole. What can I say? I go down that rabbit hole and I'm like, oh, I don't have kit number 3. I don't have kit number 5. This is new kit. Oh, just gorgeous. So if you haven't been over to Roxy Creations, then I went and bought the ladies. See, look, it's out of control. Not really. But I know I want to dive into this world again because I haven't made anything with Rachel's kits for a little while. And I really enjoyed the flip-flop journal that I did with the William Morris papers. That's an older one. Let me just spin these around. That's an older one. So what I'm thinking, that's like a wallpaper that I've printed back to back onto things. There's a bit of everything here, plus the new kit. Oh, look at that. So what I'm thinking is I'm going to combine the two. This scrapbook paper from Stamperia very much matches Rachel's kits. So I think I'm going to blend the two together. Like, look at that. And there's even in here some embroidery pages. Look at that. So to me, that's embroidery waiting to happen. We could work that into this journal and then pop a piece of fabric in there with this pattern on it so that Edie could stitch it and Grandma could help her do that. So that's my plan. We're going to make this an interactive Edie journal and we're going to drift over painting, needlework. We're going to drift into Rachel's kits, and then for inspirational background pages, we're going to add a little bit of Stamperia in there. And there should be like pockets and tags and all sorts of things that we can pinch from here. So that's the plan, guys. I don't know how long this series will go for. I don't know if it'll be 1 journal or 10 journals, because seriously, I have enough stuff here. Let's have a look. Oh, I shouldn't open it. Should we open it? Yeah, let's open it. So what have we got here? We've got lots of paper to do collaging. So we could have a page where Edie gets lots of scraps that she has to build a collage. So we do maybe one side and then we create an envelope and she has to do the other side and sort of mimic what we've done to teach her a little bit of collaging. See, these are these journals. There's a heap of them in here. Goodness me. And then underneath all that, oh, goodness me. I'm not even going to dig in there. I'm just going to close that up. But we know we have it as a resource. Maybe in amongst this series of digging in there, we pull those journals out and have a fiddle with them. It might be something we can include in Edie's parcel. Maybe one of those can be adapted into this project because they're pretty much blank slates. So who knows where this is going to go, but it's going to be a combination of Rachel's from Roxy Creations papers, because that'll give us envelopes, that'll give us tucks and pockets, and I need to open this, all sorts. And I really want to use a bit of this scrapbook paper because enough's enough. I've got to start using things. It was so refreshing to use a paper pad, those 6x6. So that sort of then took me into that cupboard, which is great. We've pulled out a paper pad. So happy, happy days. So yeah, we're going to call this series Edie's Journal. That way, if she ever looks back on it, she can see the construction of it. She's probably a little bit too young at the moment, but I don't know, these 9-year-olds, they're pretty advanced compared to me when I was 9. Let's have a flip through this. Oh my goodness. Oh, look at all these inspirational words we can work through the journal. Tags, sayings, paint. Oh, These will work beautifully with Rachel's papers. Like, it's colour, colour, colour. Look at that. Oh, now we can bring in birds and butterflies and, you know, all of it. Oh, Edie. Oh, look at that. Gosh. Oh, yum, yum. If we can't pull something out of this, oh, look at those. That feels like Van Gogh inspired. Just, oh, boy, oh, boy. Frames. Imagine what we could do with frames. We could cut them out and make them pockets where she could slide in, say, some dried flowers, or like create an activity with frames. We'll see. We'll see. Possible. Look at that. So we've just got to drift into this theme, textiles and fabrics and things like that, which I don't think will be too hard at all. Look at the colour wheel. There's an activity there where we could have her, with her watercolours, create the like a colour wheel or a palette of colours, like we do with our journals, where we just paint little strengths of one colour down and then you outline it in a black pen. Like, that's a simple activity for someone to do. Oh, look at that. Okay. All right. So you've got my direction now. We've got some elements that we can pull together for this. Now we need to decide about a cover. Now, last night my mate Marianne popped over and she gave me some more paper bags, and she's been busy crocheting snowflakes for me as well. I've been using them in the Journal of Stitchery project, and I've got a book of 101 or 100 crocheted snowflakes. So she was over for dinner, her and her hubby, and she said, oh, gee, that's pretty. I've got more snowflakes for you. And do you want, oh, I love that one. Do you want some paper bags? And I was like, yes. Never say no. Oh, these are so cute. I've used most of them now in my Journal Stitchery, unless the girls come up with a prompt that I can delve in. But I plan to starch these and hang them on my Christmas tree, just for something a little bit different. And it'll be nice, being that Marianne crocheted them. And she gave me these 2 bags. So, little one is no good for us. I'm thinking about using this big bag as our journal cover. I want to make the journal tactile, and I want to make it fairly strong, and I don't really know how thick the spine needs to be. So if we start fairly big, we're not going to be inhibited by the spine. Having said that, if her journal becomes a bit of a gator mouth, I don't think it really matters. But anyway, I'm thinking of using this bag. So let's just break it down. We'll do a few measurements and then make our final decision, because I do have some rather large books that could also be used. But I'm thinking we'll do this, because if Edie then sees that she can make something out of a brown paper bag, that's probably not a bad thing. So let's get this open and see what quantity of paper we've got, what size. So let's get rid of that gusset. All right. Now let's get rid of the handles. I don't think we need those. I'm just going to tear off that paper. Hopefully the bag won't rip, but we can repair it if that does happen. Okay, someone must have got some candles. This bag is from Dusk, which is a candle shop in Australia. All right, second handle. So I hope you like the idea of this project. I guess if you've got a granddaughter or a daughter that's a similar age, maybe this is something you can create for them to start their journal experiences. Now, so what have we got? If I fold that in half, we've got a nice big page, don't we? Yep. Yeah. Do we get rid of the gussets? I'll just go the camera up a little bit so you guys aren't so looking down the throat of this. So what sort of measurements do we have here? So we've got 12 by 12 papers and they're being folded in half. We've actually got a 6-inch page. So we've got a bit of space here that is sort of too much. So we could do, and we've got plenty of height. Look, that's perfect. 12 inches tall. I wonder if we do an enclosure. So if we bring this in a little bit and make it a soft, yeah, if we do 6 inches in and fold it, and then we could have a enclosure that comes around. But if the journal turns out to need a spine of, 2 inches, which I'm suspecting it might, let's just crease it there and see what that sort of feels like. We would still have something come over depending on how big the spine is. So that would be a 1.5 at the moment, and it might be 2 because this isn't needed to that degree. So I think we'll aim for that. I love how it gives us plenty of height, so Edie's got room to sort of explore. I didn't want to use like a Reader's Digest or anything like that because I sort of felt like that was going to be a little bit too restricting. Will I get rid of the gussets is my next question. I don't mind them being in there because they add a little strength to the journal, but we could get rid of them. We could. Do we get rid of them? Do we make a pocket out of that gusset? Keeps the strength. That's what I don't mind that idea. It's not a real deep pocket, mind you. I think I'm going to leave the gussets within the bag. Normally I chop them off, but I want this journal to be really strong. So I'm going to keep them. Yeah, I'm going to keep them. And I think, just bear with me as I sort of knock this through. You know how I work by now. You're literally going along for the ride. Anything could happen. Could change my mind. Haven't really thought this far because this project's literally come together in about a 20-minute window. All I know is journal, 9-year-old, young Edie. I'm going to glue this all together. Then I think I might run this around the sewing machine just to join it properly. I like the fact that we're going to get a bit of a crackly feeling in the journal cover. That's pretty fun. So we've got a bit of noise about the journal, a bit of drama. So I'm just going to bring that down. Get my burnishing tool out and just make sure all that sticks together. We could have a tuck in there, you know, a pocket with inside. Oh, the possibilities. My goodness me. Make a decision, Corrine. Let's just glue this and think. You can hear my wheels turning in my little head. I was Googling journals for children, and I come across smash books. Now, they were big, probably about 10 years ago, and it was really designed for kids of this age that could just keep treasures in their journals. It was sort of revamping the journal that we know, but more for kids, and they were selling them through the department stores, stickers and washi tape and things like that. So I didn't really want to go along the idea of a smash book where she has to gather things for it, because I think that at that age she'd probably lose interest in it really quickly. And I can sort of see in her little journal that I've got here, the frozen one, she's made a few little comments on things, drawn a tiny little picture, and then she's gone. She hasn't completed anything in each of the pages, which is okay. But I'd really like to have an environment where she can dive in and maybe do an activity with her mum or her grandmother. And I think if we can create prompts and activities as we go, I think it, yeah, will be really, really nice. So what am I thinking now? I think I'm just going to close this up completely, guys. I can always add side tucks and bits and pieces. Yeah, there we go. I'm just going to glue as far in as I can. And then I'm going to run the sewing machine right around the perimeter of this bag. And then it's forever sealed and forever strong. And then whatever size this journal turns out to be, spine-wise, flips, flops, doesn't matter. The cover or the base, this is irrelevant. So it's probably not really a bag journal. It's just using it as a substrate, which is nice and strong. The main reason is I like the size of it, because if this gets quite large with a bit of a wrap closure or a flap closure, we've got room to sort of move. I really need to get myself some more of those wipes, because I've run out and I'm creating a gluey mess. Okay, happy with that. There's our base. So the next thing I will need to do is I'm just going to go around the outer edge and stitch it all down. So then I know it's, you know, nice and secure. So I will stop the camera. The other thing before I go and do that is we need to just decide what we're going to do to the cover. And I really want to use some fabric and do some slow stitch. So I will need to now go rummaging for a colour theme. Now that I've got my papers sorted, I'm going to have a look through my cupboard and see if I can find something that sort of matches in with these fantastic colours, and then we'll come back and work out what we're going to do as the piece on the front. Whether that happens in this video is another thing. I'm just not sure, because we might put some calico down on this as more of a base. But we'll see. I'll stop the video and I'm going to go to my sewing machine and stitch around it, get some fabrics, and I'll be back in a moment. See you soon, guys. Bye. Okay, I'm back. Now, I've gone around the outer edge of our bag with the sewing machine. That's just to really make sure that that edge stays forever closed. It's going to be completely covered, so we'll never know that it's in there, but I'll just feel a little bit better knowing that that's one piece. So I don't really need that at the minute. I went then to my fabric stash and just started grabbing out pieces of fabric and colours that sort of blended with this scrapbook paper. So I've got a bit of everything. So the next thing I want to do is clear my space of all the paper elements, because we're going to start putting together the cover. And I think that will sort of help me set the tone for the whole journal. So bear with me. Let's grab some calico. I'll just push this fabric back out of the way. And I want a piece of calico that will be my substrate to stitch onto, which will eventually get glued onto this. So we need to rip a piece to suit. Got room here. Bandit's woofing. Okay, let's have a look at this. I'm going to just rip it a little bit bigger than my bag, because we can always trim it. But what I might do, bandit, is I'm just going to do an outline of the bag while it's here, and that will give me a bit of a working space. Let's just like I suspected, this fabric is crooked. Look at that, it's way out. I might go to the inside. I wonder if that's right. Gee, it's really out of plumb. Not that it matters too much, as long as our bag has space to be, yeah, okay. Where'd my pencil get to? What did I do with it? Goodness me, now I've lost. Oh, goodness. There it is. Now I've lost my pen, but I found it, so we're all good. If I can get that just to sit inside that fold, that will be good. Then I can get a front and a back out of that one piece. So let's just draw around that bag. Now, as for the cover, what am I going to do? I think I'm going to just lay down patches of fabric and then top stitch it all down to create a patchworky, yummy cover, and then I could probably stitch some lace into that, and who knows. So it'll be, you know, a big slow stitch piece. So this side can be the inside of the journal. So it's going to have a lot of textiles. So we'll just draw around that as well. Oh, I could probably have lifted that. I'm going to redo that line. So it's a little bit short on this bottom corner. It's really just a guide, otherwise you go too far with your fabrics, and then yeah. So that line there is the one we don't need. I'll get the iron out later, and not that it matters. So that's going to be the inside, and this is going to be the outside. O-U-T. Oh, goodness me. Gosh, I can't even spell outside. All right. I'm going to leave this all attached for now. No use separating it because it'll all be worked, you know, together. So now the plan is just to lay down fabric to decorate. Now we do need to, actually I will separate this, or will I? No, I'll leave it together. No, we'll separate it. Reason why is because when it's sitting on your lap, it just, it's just more bulk you don't need. And if there's pins in it, it just, yeah. So that's the outside. Now that will go like that with our flap coming over. So what I'm going to write here is flap. So whatever fabrics I put along this edge, I know to drift them further past the fold. So when we open that, that's how it'll look. There's the flap coming back to the back of it, and this is the front cover of it. Okay, so now it's just a case of laying down some fabric, of which we have no restrictions. So we want a bit of floral in this, I think. I love this piece. Some pretty flowers we can grab out. So I won't get this all laid down on this video because we're going to run out of time, but what I'll do is I will just stop the video and you can tune in to the next episode. Sounds like a sitcom or a what do they call it, Days of Our Lives. So I want this, I think, somewhere prominent. We'll get some nice big pieces down first that I like. I don't even have my pins handy. This is how organised I am. I like that front cover. I love this orange. I've only got a little bit of it, so let's just pop that down. Orangey pink. It is a corally colour. What else have we got here? This cream, just for a breath of fresh air. Don't ask me the names of all these fabrics. They are just straight out of my unnamed cupboard. I just don't know what's in there now. I can see that some of these are a little bit of a tilde. Like those. They're tilde. That there is tilde. These florally ones, they're just from a random pack that I picked up where they craft shop had put together a heap of floral fabrics. So I don't really know the history of those. Yeah. I wonder if there's something in here we can pull out. Don't want to go too muted because it's, keep it fresh. They're probably a little bit muted, but there's pinks in there. I could use a little pink, I guess. I want to keep it more turquoise, I think, because that scrapbook paper is very turquoise. This fabric's beautiful. Geographical, is that the word? Geometrical fabrics should cut this way. This would be good to do cross stitch on, wouldn't it? She could do an exercise in cross stitch. That fabric. These sort of feel a bit fresh. That one's not too bad. I think I need to get some more big florals down. These little prints are sort of, can make a piece feel messy really quickly. You need some feature. So I'm just going to take a little snippet of that one, but I'm going to get back out of those and get into maybe this one. Some nice big bold floral. Isn't that beautiful? Let's take this corner. Yeah. Remembering this is the front of the cover. Might take another piece of that. I really like that. Look, I might end up rejigging it a little bit, but at least I've got some elements sort of coming, whoops, coming to the space. Oh, Bandit, please. What's all that about? How pretty. Okay. All right, I've given you a little bit of a taste of where we're heading with this. So I might shoot that up there. Drop that into there. Bring that into there. I want to bring some antique elements into it, like printed antique ephemera. And I've got some fabrics that have that sort of, oh, Bandit. See, it's breakfast time. I can hear my husband in the kitchen. Bandit's like, Yahoo, this is exciting. Breakfast is a possibility. That's what that little thing's about. I do have a courier coming, so maybe it's that, but I'm thinking it's more Mum, Dad's in the kitchen making toast. You better attend, because there might be a morsel for me, and he's got a better chance of getting it if Mum is involved in the kitchen. That's what I reckon that dog is thinking. I feel like I'm rushing a little bit here, so I'm just going to cut some bits, throw them down, and then turn the video. There's another floral. Oh, I like this one too. Oh, this is so girly girl. Let's just get a chomp of that. How beautiful. So we could do a little bit of embroidery on them if we wanted, or not. This could take forever, this project, if I get too crazy. Lovely. Do we want a brown? No. I could certainly put a piece of that in. Just as a block colour. Anyway, okay guys, I'm going to leave the video there. I will come back and we'll just keep piecing this sort of together and carry on our merry way. But at least we've worked out what we're doing. We've got our cover ready just to have something attached to it that's going to be textile, which is this. We've selected our papers. Rachel's papers and kits will work beautifully with it, so I don't have to print anything else. And our Stamperia paper will work with it like How yummy is that? If that doesn't inspire creativity, nothing will. Beautiful. I might see if I can find some embroidery too from doilies. You know, when they stitch doilies when we're kids. The stitches are obviously very simple. So if we pop a few of those in here too, we might then be able to drag that in as a little project within the journal. So that's what I'm sort of thinking. I'm going to leave it at that. It's probably not an hour-long video, but it's pretty close. And I'm going to sort of grab a few more pieces that we can sort of attach to it. All right, I'll see you in the next video. Hope you join me for our journey to create a journal for Edie. Thanks, everyone. See you soon. Bye.